United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. On tonight's agenda, we have a discussion with the chief carpenter about recruiting his replacement. We're gonna discuss our roofing quotes, and then old and new business, and we'll wrap up with a non-public at the end. Do you have any opening comments or anything, Jay? John, no? Just a reminder that our Memorial Day parade is this Sunday. When do things kick off?
The morning one I think is 10 a.m. I think,
Yeah. Alright, yeah.
and then the second one is at noon or 1. I apologize, I can't remember right off.
I meant to grab a sheet, but yeah, it's this Sunday. We hope to see people out in attendance and observation of our fallen heroes. I guess we'll get right into business with you, Tim.
Okay.
You handed out, was this like a flow, like a,
What I've given you is pretty much an anatomy of a hiring process, start to finish. A lot of this is set by New Hampshire Academy standards, so there isn't a whole lot of wiggle room on a lot of these issues that are on this piece of paper.
okay,
And the reason I'm bringing it to you guys is so that you're all aware of, you know, the time that it's gonna take to complete a full process. You know, this could take upwards of 4 to 5 months, you know, if you're gonna do an in-depth process, you know, from advertising, you know, you're looking at a minimum of 30 days, could be longer. The candidate pool is not deep.
mhm,
The other thing the board needs to be aware of is that there's a potential of at least 2 more chiefs being looked to be hired in this area.
mhm,
Bennington's chief is retiring June 1st. We don't know what's gonna happen with that, if they're going to hire, you know, a company to come in and do a consultant type hiring. And there's another department that I'm not gonna mention yet because I've had it released, plus us. So that's 3, all within the geographical area,
mhm,
and they're small departments. So there's a lot of things that need to be taken into consideration when, you know, you put this out.
okay,
I just want you guys to have the information and to be aware of it. That's all I'm doing.
I appreciate it.
You know, none of it's easy. It's gonna be time consuming. It's gonna be lengthy. But, you know, you've already put it out there that you wanna do a process, so, you know, with that being said, these are the steps that you need to go through.
okay,
And this is what I've outlined. You're gonna start with the advertisement, and again, I said a minimum of 30 days, it could be longer than that, depending on how many applicants you get. You also have to understand in the chief's position that you could be receiving applications from Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maine, New York, and they all come with their own set of issues.
mhm,
Many of these individuals are already retiring from their home state, and they're looking to come up here for another 10 years and then grab another pension. But it also comes with its own set of circumstances and possibly problems in that their certifications, wherever they reside, may not transfer to New Hampshire. So that is something that the board also needs to consider when they're vetting individuals.
okay,
Massachusetts, for example, they run 3 different academies for 3 different certifications, depending on, you know, the size of the municipality, things of that nature. And not all of them are accepted by the state of New Hampshire. What that means is, you go through this entire process, this person would end up going to what they call a law package in the state of New Hampshire to get brought up to speed on all the New Hampshire laws and things of that nature. So, it's not just hiring somebody and throwing them in a position and they're gonna be able to hit the ground running.
mhm,
There's a lot that goes into this. I don't know how many candidates we're gonna see from New Hampshire. You know, you You may see some candidates from, you know, some of the larger municipalities, may not be in a chief's role, but they could be in a supervisory role. So those are things you're gonna have to look at too and determine what your criteria is gonna be as to what you're gonna accept and move forward with the process from there. Those are just a couple of issues right out of the chute that need to be dealt with, but, you know, once you receive the resumes, then you're gonna review the resumes, and then you're gonna, you know, put a pool of them together. You know, once you have your criteria set as to what you're looking for a candidate, and then as a committee, I would think that you would want to, you know, banter that around, come down with a final list of 3 to 5, maybe 6, and then do interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And then you may need to do a second round of interviews if you are able to narrow that down. And then you may not like any of them, or none of them may meet the criteria that's set in the advertisement, and that's the other thing you need to look at. You're gonna see people applying for jobs, and you're gonna see resumes that go all the way back to their childhood where they're an Eagle Scout, but they don't meet the criteria that you have set, and that's something that you really need to look at those resumes line by line by line, to make sure that, you know, it is what you want, and make sure that that advertisement that you have is what you are looking for.
And that spells it right out. Yeah.
Make sure that if that's what you're looking to do, make sure that you follow it,
Okay.
okay? That's the only thing I can suggest on that.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get through the interview process, then you're gonna go into a conditional offer of employment with the candidate at that point in time. You have to do that in order to start your background investigation. The background investigation is not gonna be done by anyone here. More likely than not, you're gonna reach out to police standards and training, and you're gonna let them do the background investigation.
Mm-hmm.
It's an independent party, and they know the rules better than anybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
You let them vet the people, they'll come back with a yay or nay. You can also negotiate with them to also complete a psychological evaluation, which has to be done. A polygraph should be done. You know, and depending on if they're coming from this state, how long they've been in service, if they were hired prior to 2001, you would not have to do a physical agility test. But if they're hired after 2001, they need to have a physical agility test pass and qualify for the position. And if they don't, then they're eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's a lockstep process that you guys are going through from start to finish here. Candidate fails any one portion of this, then they're out, and then you're starting over again.
Yeah.
So, these are all things to be aware of and understand.
Okay. That is much more of a process than what I initially thought. You know, I was thinking, you know, a couple months maybe, but this looks like it's quite lengthy. Like how you had said, like, you know, 3 months, we'd be lucky if it went that smooth and we were able to move at a pace to keep it within 3 months, but.
Well, and that's the problem, and I've had a couple of discussions already with a couple of the chiefs around, and we're all on the same page with this. It's, you know, 3 months if there are no hiccups. You have one hiccup in this thing, and you're going up to 6.
Yeah.
You know, because essentially, and that's providing you get candidates,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the issue.
Yeah. Had you have a chance to look at the advertisement?
Briefly, I just saw it.
Okay.
I would like to take a little extra time if I could and really go through it.
Alright, I'd appreciate that.
If that's okay.
No, that'd be great. Thank you.
And then the other thing you're gonna have to look at too is, once you get the candidate through this process, is contract negotiations. And that's always very sticky with it. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be prepared for that. A lot of towns are trying to do away with that. depending on the candidate, where they're coming from, what they have vested. Very few of them are gonna take a chief's job without a contract,
Hmm,
so just be aware of it.
okay.
Did you say some towns are doing away with it now?
With
Trying to.
contract, yeah.
How does that work?
But the problem now is that the candidates aren't out there,
Yeah.
so they're not having a whole lot of success doing that.
Now, with you, you don't have a contract, right?
Nope.
Alright. Alright, so that'd be a change for us then, like to have some type of,
My predecessor did,
okay,
and that's pretty much why I don't have a contract. And I'm not going any further than that
mhm,
discussion, but.
understood. Did you wanna, like, were we gonna go through these things, Scott?
Well, what I did was just some of the things that we started in this process, the rough draft of the ad. The second page of that is, I took a look at all, and this doesn't apply to chiefs specifically, this is just what I'm seeing for current, ads for non-certified and certified police officers.
Okay,
Just to give you a general idea, I mean, this is good for other reasons as well, but these are kind of the current ads that are in New Hampshire Municipal Association right now. And you can see, I mean, a lot of the benefits things are gonna apply to a chief's position as well. And the question is, what is the town willing to consider? For example, some of the towns are paying 100% of the medical and dental insurance. Some of them are offering education incentives, tuition reimbursement or degree incentives, meaning if you achieve a certain level of degree, there's an additional increase in salary to cover that.
mhm,
It's kinda like what the Quinn bill is in Mass. There's an insurance buyback option, so if somebody gets their health insurance somewhere else, some towns offer a buyback, so you're paying them not to take our insurance, and you figure out what percentage that is. Almost everybody I looked at is offering short and long-term disability, which we don't. We don't offer that to any employee here, unless they go on their own through Aflac. The sign-on bonuses range from, 2 to 5, depending on whether it was certified, non-certified, and up to $10,000 signing bonuses. The other, option that I saw in there was life insurance in an amount to match your annual salary, which is, typical with most employees, but not here, Here we cap it at $25,000. Some towns were offering, in addition to the New Hampshire retirement system, a 457B plan, which allows people to put even more money away for retirement in a deferred tax scenario. The town doesn't necessarily contribute to that like you would if all we had was a 457B, because we're already contributing to New Hampshire retirement, but that's another option that's out there. Some are paying shift differentials, so depending on what shift you're working, you might get if you're working one of the night shifts or weekend shift, you might get a shift differential for that. And then longevity pay, some towns are offering more years of service, you get an additional bonus or stipend for years of service. And then below that, I just listed out what some of those towns were listing for ranges for just straight police officers, although New Boston was for a sergeant. Just to give you an idea of where things are at. The following page, I think you all saw Chief Muhlenberg's response.
mhm,
And again, I think that's kinda echoes what Tim and I have already been saying as far as what the length of the process, could be. And then after that was the job description, which we reviewed last week, but I stuck it back in there if you have any, questions, comments about that.
On the job description, do you have any updates that we should put in to that?
No,
Cause it's from, what would we say, 2011, 2010, something like that?
11.
Yeah.
There hasn't been any changes in it.
No, so you're comfortable with it?
It's, pretty all encompassing for what we do, so, no, I don't have any other changes that I would make to it.
And then if we're able to have Chief Mullenberg, help us out, do you have an idea? Cause he's looking for like the time commitment aspect, so I don't know.
Seems to me like we would hire him on a consulting basis when we felt it was needed and not to sit through all the meetings, I don't know.
Well, I guess the first question to ask, and I'm not meaning to interrupt, Jason, do you have the committee established in your head?
No, we're still like figuring out how to form the committee, so we're still at that early stage, but I'd like to have that kinda ironed out tonight, what direction we're gonna go in.
Well,
We've
that-
thrown out a few possibilities and,
Yeah, and that brings, I wonder why we wouldn't put the lieutenant as acting chief and see how that goes. And then, if it seems to not be working out, start a committee. Is that,
well, it's kinda like the idea of starting the committee, we're not sure if he'd even want that role. 'Cause we
that's
haven't had a
true, we would have
conversation
to
with
ask him,
Yeah, yeah.
but
I
it
can't
would,
believe what he's on the agenda for next week, correct?
Correct.
so you think it would be best to just leave that topic until,
Until we, I
Till
would say
next
until,
week.
till we have a chance to at least speak with him to see if it's something, to see if he's even interested. I mean, to ask him to be acting chief, again, that's something we ask, if he's willing to do it, then otherwise we have to figure something else out. But, to find out whether he's even interested in
that would be
Yeah.
pertinent.
completely taking the next step up, I think that's something in the conversation we have next week, no matter what. So, but I would say, I think a lot of that has to do with that conversation we have with him next week on all those pieces.
So like as far as a committee formation, you think like the three of us should probably be on it together. And then any other consulting, like you said, like would Chief Mullenberg be like a consultant of sorts?
Yeah, and I think that's, to be honest, I think it's one of those things we, like Tim said, I think some of the resumes may be very easy to sort through.
Mhm.
It's kinda like when we get them for the DPW, you get, or when we were getting them for town administrator, you're getting someone that, that has minimal office experience, they know how to answer phone and work Microsoft Word. Or the DPW, you're looking for someone and you get people that drive pickup trucks, they don't even have a CDL, or they have a CDL, but it's not the one that we need. They never driven plow, it's very easy to start eliminating some of the other ones, and then if you get it down to a certain point, I think to ask Chief Mullenberg to help us review a limited number of resumes, and then see if he would be willing to sit in on interviews, whether it be first interviews or second, to ask some of those questions we might be too ignorant, based on our experience, to ask.
Mhm.
I'm sure there's questions that Tim asks of police officers that none of us would even think that we should be asking. and I think that's what Chief Mullenberg would bring to the table,
Mhm.
you know, to be either in the first or second round of interviews and maybe to help us narrow down some resumes. But I agree with Jason, I don't think he needs to be here every day doing, like every time we meet, okay, we got some resumes, what did we get? You know, and then, you know, and then if he's reviewing them, kind of say, hey, if we ask you to review some resumes, you know, what kind of, whether it be compensation or commitment, do you think that would take of you or both?
Mhm.
And then, but tell him that that's our plan, is that he will be brought in when we really need that help, when we need that expertise.
Mhm.
But I don't think he needs to sit here in every meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would agree with that. He's going to be, or will be a valuable asset, because he's worked for a number of departments. And he has that knowledge base, especially coming from the outside.
Right.
He came from Arizona originally, so, and ended up in Range and then landed in Jaffrey, so he's got a good mix and a good sense for this area, so I think with that knowledge, I think it's an asset, that you don't wanna abuse.
Right.
So with that said, I would agree that, you know, probably a second set of interviews, with more direct, pointed questions, job related, would be beneficial. But I don't think to sit here and go through whatever you guys get in here, that you may look at it and say, yeah,
Right.
we don't need to do that, so. Certainly a resource to use, but I don't think you wanna abuse it for sure.
There was, it was brought up, was it last week, that maybe we should have a few residents from town who understand the dynamics of the town, and
I don't believe so.
you don't think that would be
Nope.
a good thing?
Nope.
How come?
Based on what reason? Like, why would, I don't see a reason that you would need, you know, someone from town coming in and deciding how they do or don't want the police department running. Or how that we would choose a police chief based on their preferences for what they see the office running. I don't think that's a good idea.
Mhm. I can see positive and negative to both, and the potential negative kinda outweighs the positive, cause they could stymie the whole process and turn it into something,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the more people you bring, I mean, even if, as it is, if it's open, if any of the discussion is an open meeting, which normally not much of it is, when you start really looking at candidates, but anything like that, all of a sudden it's out in the public and everyone's talking about it, and either you can quickly burn a candidate. Just,
I see.
that was a great candidate, but, you know, guess what? Everyone just talked complete trash about him on, you know,
Yeah.
online, and now we don't have, now that candidate's like, I don't need this,
Mhm.
you know. And everyone I mean, I'm sorry, I think anyone in this day and age knows that that's there, but I don't think you need to, in the current environment we're in, I don't think we need that to start off with. And I just don't, I would have a real hard time, expecting everything to remain quiet
Mhm.
the more people you bring in. You know, it's one of those things, you know, secrets can be kept between two people as long as one of them's dead.
Now, I know initially, that evening, when you let us know that you're retiring, it was my hope that you would help be a part of the process, and I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but like, would you be willing to be like a consultant after you retire? Like, is that, no? Okay,
Step away, I'm gone.
I can respect that.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that, but no, thank you.
Okay, alright. Anyways, I value your input, and you are a respected member of the community, so, yeah, but I can respect you, yep, just walking away.
I think, like I said, I think, you know, at least to start off, it's probably gonna be the three of us, and then we'll have a better idea of, you know, the department once we speak with Lieutenant Abel next week. You know, to
Okay.
see if whether it be him or another officer would like to be involved. But I think we'll wait and have that discussion with him next week, but obviously, I mean, if we need to, then we start with the three of us, and then we pull in, knowledge as we start narrowing it down.
Mhm.
Cause like I said, I agree with Tim, you know, where he said, I think you're gonna get some, you know, I was a crossing guard and, you know, such and such, well, you know, that, it's not very helpful, but thank you for your application,
Yeah.
so.
And I can't stress enough that whoever you are looking at for a candidate, you have to impress upon them that they are a working chief. Depending on where these candidates are gonna be applying from, they may not have seen a dashboard cruiser in 15, 18, 20 years. This town cannot afford that. So that's something that needs to be impressed upon.
Thank you. We'll probably even add that right to the advertisement, Scott, like, it's a working chief, so they have an idea right off the bat, they don't get too far into it.
That doesn't mean it's gonna stop any of the
Oh, right.
resumes coming in,
Yeah.
but. And you may find a candidate that, you know, has a stacked resume that you may not feel all that warm and fuzzy about, that, you know, if you have a conversation with him, you know, you may find that he's a solid candidate, he or she, I should say. But you gotta make sure that they understand what the role is,
Mhm.
and that's very important,
Okay.
so.
And on this topic, I reached out to the sheriff's department.
Yep.
Today and spoke with Sheriff Connolly,
Okay?
and I just need to get back to him tomorrow with how, like, what type of shift coverage or like what type of support we could possibly need, from them. There's a couple communities that are around here, that they're already, well, one looking at Bennington that you had mentioned,
Yep.
and then another one, I don't know if I should mention or not, because I don't know if that's the one you're talking about, but we might be able to kinda, like, they could come up with like a route, kinda to have a presence, and but he listed off a number of ways that it could work, and I let him know that we could be in this position for, you know, up to 6 months or so, and we might need a little bit more from him, and he said that they could work out, like, we could work out like a contract or whatever. They can be a little flexible now, cause the courts are closed and they don't have as many, transports to do, and he's not sure if they're gonna stick to the Zoom, like, platform that they've been way that they've been doing it, or if they're gonna switch back to transporting, prisoners around, like, to go to the actually get into the courts or not. So that's gonna affect things in the coming months too, like, their flexibility.
The courts are slowly opening up,
Mm.
at least at the district level. Superior courts are a little different, which is what they do the transports for. The problem that I have with running the circuit is, as he described to you, is, you know, knowing what we know about the personnel issues that we have now, and what we have for manpower and what we're going to have for manpower moving forward, you're looking at 168 hours in a 7-day period of time, and you're looking at being able to cover 80 hours.
Mm.
So that's problematic if they're gonna try and run 3 towns with a single patrol. This town is way too busy to be, in that sort of frame of mind. Almost need a dedicated patrol.
Okay. Okay.
Now, there's a couple things that can be done to stretch shifts and things of that nature, and, I'm not about to sit here and go into all that, those specifics in an open session, obviously,
Mm.
certain reasons, but, it's still not gonna be remotely close enough, to be able to operate in that fashion with them on a circuit.
Okay, alright, I'll press that on him tomorrow when I speak with him.
And that's certainly, that, you know, if you wanted to be part of the conversation, I'd be more than happy to have that conversation as well, so
Okay,
I will join in on that.
alright. Would there be, do you know a time offhand tomorrow that would work best to kinda like do like a group call, or do I just to give you a buzz in the morning and,
Yeah, I mean, things can change a lot
Yeah,
between now and
yeah,
tomorrow morning, so.
yeah. Yeah.
But right now, it's, I think I've only got 2 issues I've got to deal with first thing in the morning, so,
Okay. Alright, I'll touch base with you mid-morning then.
sure. I would say probably 10 o'clock. That'll be fine. And I also think that that should be part of the conversation that you folks have next week, with the lieutenant. We've talked a little bit about it, but not knowing what his roles and responsibilities were gonna be, there hasn't been a lot of in-depth conversation about that. So, if we get to that point, then I can provide him with some more ideas.
Great.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any other questions or?
No, that's pretty, stacked already. Yeah. But I mean, we knew that going in, and so, yeah. No, it's a lot to go over.
I kinda wanted to have the advertisement hammered out, but I guess we can kinda go through some of it tonight and then get your input on it tomorrow. Cause I definitely wanna get this up and posted, as soon as possible here. Cause we're on week 2.
And one thing wasn't gonna bring up, but I do wanna bring up, is we have 2 full-time candidates that we wanna start a hiring process with for patrol positions. Do you want us to move forward with those, or do you want us to hold off on those?
No, I would say definitely move forward.
Mm-hmm, yeah, move forward.
The physical agility test for 2 candidates are set for May 26th. If one or both, hoping that both pass the PT test, then we're gonna move into a conditional offer of employment and then start the backgrounds. We are going to have to send these backgrounds out to be done, because these guys are not gonna have enough time to get the backgrounds done. So there is a fee associated with that. Plus, they will also have to complete a polygraph and psychological if they make it through all of this, for an August 23rd start of academy, so we don't have a lot of time to get things moving if
Okay.
we choose first to.
Motion to allow, Chief Carpenter to proceed with, hiring 2 full-time candidates, as well as any fees associated with that.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Get on.
Thank you. Did you have anything else you wanted to?
No, I think that's about enough. It's
Thank-
been a little crazy the last couple of weeks, so
Yeah.
trying to get things squared away and moving forward, so.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome. Just give me a call, you know, after 10 tomorrow, and I should be around.
Alright, cool.
Yeah.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Okay, okay. So,
Sorry.
okay,
You want it in here or you
yeah, if you can bring it in here, cause we have a few minutes now,
Alright.
so that'd be great, Roger, thank you.
Right back. read it this afternoon. So I was fine with it.
Mm. Approve it again.
So I did call Ollie the other day, told him the order that people would be speaking,
Okay.
so hopefully that's all set.
Then are we gonna all go together, like each one, or does you typically just go like from one spot to the next?
Yeah, so basically what happened is, so if, like, if you're gonna go to the, I can't go to the one in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons I've never been able to do that one. So, so normally, like, if you're gonna go, you just meet Jason there a little before 10, and, you just find Ollie, he'll tell you where you're supposed, you know, what you're supposed to do, whatever.
Yeah.
Then when we, you just follow that, basically, you know, he'll announce when Jason's speaking, all that, and Jason will go up. But then, like, later on, we just meet at the church,
Yeah.
and then we step in to a spot, you know, in the parade line. We're normally like right around the fire department. Normally, it's kind of where we end up,
Okay.
and we just walk with them, and you just follow along.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then same thing, you follow down to the cemetery. When they pull off, we go all the way up to where the podium is set up, and we stand there, and again they'll announce, and then parade line falls back in. We go up to the Soldiers Monument. Everything happens there, and normally you'll kind of see we stand off to the side, and then that ends. Parade line falls back in, and you'll know it because they're nice and loud and form
Yeah.
parade or whatever, and then we march up to the playground, and then you're done.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen them a couple times. I think I always catch the end.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the Soldiers Monument.
Yeah.
So. I'm gonna try to do the whole experience. this
So like I
day.
said, because of my commitments in the morning, I'm not able to be there,
Mhm.
because the person who would normally fill in for me music-wise does the music at the 10 a.m. So
Mhm.
it's Christine Bergeron. They normally have her sing in the morning.
Yeah.
So that's, if I'm not gonna be there, then normally I reach out to her to do it.
Mhm.
And so I don't normally get to go to the 10 a.m. one.
Yeah.
And how'd the cookout go last week?
Well,
Good.
got some good feedback. Thank you for all them burgers.
You're
I
welcome.
don't even think we made it through like half of the first. I don't know how many are in a pack, but
There was like 50 or something like that in a pack,
Yeah.
I think, something like that. But
yeah.
he said you had like 43 confirmed or something. I'm like, well, everyone does too, you know.
Yeah.
So we're kind of around there.
I think everybody was kind of polite. It was the first one, so we're
Yeah.
like still kind of.
I figured, you know, feeding the DPW, let them eat, you know.
Well, even they're kind of standing off to the side. I'd say, come on, like you guys are the most shy ones
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Well, that was the whole
hungriest
deal.
ones too, right?
Yeah, and that was the whole deal. I didn't want anyone to think that they had to ration out the, no, that's, feed them,
No, we had plenty of food.
feed them, yeah.
So it was good.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we got
And then the
a little bit
girls
of
from the
inventory for
office,
next.
yeah, girls from the office brought some of the side dishes and
Yeah, desserts, Kobe pies, some type of cherry pie, something that I wish I grabbed a piece of, but it was gone
I
pretty
think it
quick.
was raspberry and it was
Was it
good.
raspberry? Yeah. Yeah, it looked good. Yeah. Well, it seemed to go
No,
well.
and it went smooth.
Mhm.
You know, just with you and I setting up was fine,
Yep.
I think.
Yeah, so.
Well, it wasn't a big production and
Yeah.
got to meet a few more people.
Yeah, that was nice too, like seeing, you know, there's a few committee members that kinda trickled
Jason,
in and
You
were
said
able to.
AP to me? So I went into my book and looked at what we had for information and what you had listed, like the top end for
Yeah.
salary is right commensurate with the information we had gotten from the state, so it fits.
I was thinking maybe the next one we can do maybe like a Friday evening or try to grab some of the people that can't be here, you know, like yourself. I don't know if like a Friday or a Sunday afternoon would work the best,
Yeah, see if we can do something different.
you
Yeah.
know.
How does your schedule go
Oh.
in the summer? Is it the
Um,
same
It's actually longer.
or? Oh, really?
I work 6 days a week. 5 of the days are 5 a.m. in the morning till 2 in the afternoon, and Saturday is 6 in the morning till 9 in the morning.
Alright. Do you travel back and forth or?
To Jaffrey, yeah.
Alright, yeah, it's Jaffrey, yeah.
Yeah, well, Dublin.
Okay.
Dublin, it's Dublin. I don't know where it changes over, but it's technically Dublin, but it's
Mhm.
just past. So it's Dublin Road, then becomes Jaffrey Road, I guess, once it crosses into Dublin.
Yeah,
So it's past Shattuck.
okay.
That's I work up camp up there, Boy Scout camp.
Mhm.
And school ends on June 18th, and I serve my first meal at camp June 18th.
Jeez. Yeah, no stop. I was kinda thinking it'd be neat to do like, kinda like a like a few hour like field day, family field day thing. Maybe swimming in the pool and then a movie, like if it's available. I haven't spoken to Shauna yet, like to see like where that's at, but I know that we had paid for the licensing on some movies before COVID and everything, and those licenses stay good until you play 'em, I believe, or a couple of years.
Yeah,
something
you
like
get
that.
you get so many year roll. But yeah, if we did something like that, like a a town employee family day or whatever at the pool, yeah, fun
Mhm.
with some grilling stuff and yeah, some time at the pool or whatever. I think that might be a nice thing to do.
Yeah, yeah,
So for the summer.
yeah, so it's kinda like bounce between like Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I don't know what you guys feel would work.
Saturday would
week.
work best for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Alright.
Sundays and Friday evenings are usually booked.
okay,
Yeah,
I
like I
feel the
said,
same thing.
yeah, Saturdays, as long as I know when, once we're looking at, like I said, throughout the summer, my Saturday afternoons are normally good.
Alright. Yeah, July's pretty hot.
Little League is done.
Oh yeah, yep. I'm gonna try to do like third Saturday in July or something like that.
I don't have.
Yeah, so that'd be the 17th.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I don't have anything. I'll put as a possible, and we'll get a confirmation. So, I marked it off on my calendar, so that way I won't book anything now.
Perfect.
The calendar saved me more than once. So.
tab, Scott.
Second tab,
So I saw his response, I thought that was great, that we'll be able to get
so
him,
did I.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
so, I mean, that answers a lot right there,
I think it tips the scales
Yeah.
right to
yeah,
I
so.
don't know, does it have to be officially announced?
Well, we vote, we make a motion, and so, based on the follow-up with, the vendors, I make a motion that we accept Prime Roofing as the vendor for the DPW garage.
I second it.
The roofing contract, yeah.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
'Cause like you said, which I wasn't surprised when he wrote that there's a delay in materials,
Yeah.
so, not surprised.
Mhm.
So who will take care of arranging all of this? Would that go through Mark or Peter or?
I think Scott notifies and then it goes through, Peter and Mark after that. Would that be correct, Scott?
Whatever you want.
Well, I just figured you normally, tell them, or whether you have, however we normally award that, so.
Yeah, I'll notify them tomorrow and we'll coordinate.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Cause I figured that after, once you award, then it's coordinating between Peter and Mark, I would assume, the timeframe and when it happens and all that goodness.
Sure.
That way you can kinda step away from it.
We probably have to sign off on the contract, right? Is it, like, will we sign that?
Yeah, I'm sure there's some that
Yeah.
comes in. How are you, sir?
Howdy.
Hi, Ollie.
How you doing? You're just in time.
Who is where?
You didn't get my message? I left your message at your house.
You did?
I did. 10 a.m. So he's gonna do, what was it? Is that Smithville then?
Smithville, yeah.
Okay.
And then. So Jason Somero. I just told him that I called and left a message at your house.
Today?
No, what day was it? It was the end of last week,
Oh,
so, yeah.
wow.
Alright, so Jason is gonna do Smithville, I'm going to do, Center Cemetery or Main Street. And then Sean will speak at the Soldiers Monument.
Sean, S-C-H-A-H-A-N.
S-H-A-W-N.
His parents made it easy. W-N.
W-N.
S-H-A-W-N.
Yep.
Very good. Thank you much.
You're welcome.
And then, hey, you're not gonna get out of here that easy.
Yeah.
I got one question about the, with the fishing derby
Yeah,
and then that funeral. Is that still, have you guys reached out to anybody?
I talked to the police and, the funeral home. They're gonna rope that off, so nobody's fishing at the head of the pond,
Okay,
yeah,
alright, so that time still, was it 11 o'clock?
yes. Yeah,
Somehow there was the funeral got booked like during, right smack dab in the middle of the fishing derby.
Oh,
Mm.
So
no.
that's
well, they
kinda,
said they're gonna be out of there by 11,
who's that?
the fishing derby.
Oh, I thought it went till 2. Alright,
Yeah,
alright, yeah, I'll talk with Shauna to,
Yeah.
so Andrew must have spoken with Shauna then?
what's that?
Andrew, did he speak
Yeah.
with Shauna, like the rec director, about that? The timing? Is that who told you they were gonna be done at 11, or?
Well, yeah, whoever he talked to, 'cause I thought he was gonna be working that period of time, helping out. That was his last message, yeah.
Okay,
They fish from 9 to 12.
okay.
that's on the rec department's Facebook page.
Alright,
So they'll fish from 9 to 12, but then they have prizes, so I'm gonna probably go till 1
yeah,
would be my guess.
clean up, yeah, that's why I have the two in my head.
Right.
Okay,
Alrighty?
yeah, I just wanna make sure it goes smoothly, cause it's, you know, a big of it, the fishing derby, like takes up all the parking along the road and
Yeah,
And you gotta
that's-
make sure
that's no
nobody
fun.
can come
Nobody's
in.
Not supposed to be parking on the church road, I mean, the cemetery road.
Yep.
Yeah,
Alright,
alrighty,
alright, sir,
Thank you all.
thank you.
thank you.
Thanks.
That's what I'd spoken with Andrew about, he, I think it was the end of last week. I brought that up as an issue and I tried to have them, I don't see how somebody would want to have their funeral
During a fishing
during a
derby.
fishing derby, so I hope that they called the people, that was my, like, you better call, like, the people and make sure. I know that they had picked that time, but there's no changing this right now,
No,
even
not
if we
at this
change it, and this is what I had told him and Shauna, like, cause Shauna was gonna be flexible on timing. I said, it doesn't matter, like, people are used to going down there in the morning, and they're gonna have this constant flow of people trying to go, and actually just throwing the line in, if you're not set up, there's still gonna be fishing, and so you need to have people down there making sure that they're not, it just turns into a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
So it seemed easier to try to get the funeral, you know, pushed
Push to
back
the
to
afternoon,
1 or
yeah.
2, so I'll follow up on that tonight and tomorrow just to see where it's at and make sure that they're gonna have enough people down there, cause we usually block off the end of that cemetery so that nobody can drive down there, so you're gonna have to have someone, cemetery trustees are gonna have to have somebody down there, you know, vetting each car that wants to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm texting. I'll text Andrew right now. Did anyone contact me?
You're like, great, now you're sicking John on me.
What? During. Would
I think he said he's chair of the trustee, the cemetery trustees now.
So we'll see what I just texted him.
Yeah. And Jay, did you sign off on these minutes?
Yeah.
Alright. We have the minutes from last week signed off on, and they'll be posted, they should be able to go up tomorrow with this. Like, my one little correction, right?
Sure, she can do
Okay.
that.
Good. Do you have an update on the cleaning contract?
Yeah, I think we've worked out a scenario. I sent them the forms that they need to send up to the Department of Safety to do a background check on their employees. They're gonna take care of getting fingerprints done by some local police agency to them, which they'll attach to the form when they send it up to the Department of Safety. I gave them kind of line by line instructions on how to fill out the form. And, you know, if that, everything works out okay, then we should be able to execute a contract within the next week or two with them. I told them it's gonna take roughly 3 to 4 weeks to get information back from the Department of Safety. So we're probably looking at a start date of the first week of July, I would think. Would be the earliest we could get their employees cleared and set a schedule, so we'll have to see how that all falls out.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good.
disposal?
Yeah, in talking with the auctioneer, we just have to get the information together on each of the properties, give them the tax cards, the, kind of a map of the plot, and where it's located, and some other background information. They need about a 4 to 5 week lead time, to, get it set up. They said if we have, I told them we had about a half a dozen properties we were probably looking at, some taken by tax deed, some that we own outright, for other reasons. And he said if we have that many, what they would prefer to do is have the auction in one location, so instead of trying to go around to all those buildings. And, they're, gonna take care of all the promotion of the properties, et cetera. They take care of all of that for us. They charge a 10% buyer's fee, so the buyer pays the 10% fee to the auction company, and we get, the rest of the proceeds. So that's where we're at. So I'm gonna work this week to see if we can gather up all the information on the properties in question, and then hopefully next week we can sit down, go through them, decide which ones you actually wanna participate in the auction, and then get that information out to the auctioneer.
Perfect.
So there's not like a flat rate per, it's just the buyer's fee?
Buyer's fee.
That's awesome.
Good.
There's no other expense to the town, is what he told me.
Alright.
Good.
Perfect. So you're comfortable with that?
I'm comfortable with that.
And the pool opening?
Well, the pool is, I guess, uncovered, up, running, et cetera, though I guess, I think Mark talked to you earlier today, there was a little bit of an issue with the water level and the filter. And I didn't know whether, you had a resolution to that problem or not.
Yeah, so we're working on getting Shauna's feet wet, so to speak. Cool. She got a lot on her plate, and
Yeah.
I actually spoke with her before coming in tonight, and went through the process, and between her and I, it just didn't click. I didn't tell her that she needed to be doing backwashes like twice a day. So right now, like, it's not running because it probably, the pressure got to a certain point and it kicks it off. But they've made contact with Quality Pools, and they're gonna come out, someone's gonna come out and help guide her and her husband through that process
Okay.
of the pool and get them up to speed, the chemicals and things. So
Okay.
that should be up and running again within the next couple days, and the cleaning going full speed ahead.
Okay. So we have Gary Johnson filling in for Peter this week, because Peter's sister passed away. So he'll be out the rest of this week, it looks like. So Gary's kind of supervising the guys. They're focusing most of their attention down on the Collins Road improvements.
Okay.
And the new guy started, so Peter hired a replacement for Aaron, a gentleman by the name of Tim Miller. So he started yesterday.
Okay. Thank you. I feel bad. Fired off an email with a bunch of questions to Peter just as I was like in my meeting prep.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
Okay, so Andrew said that he contacted Ollie. Ollie was supposed to contact the family and the funeral parlor. He says he will follow up with him after the game. He says he spoke with the rec department. They feel they can be out of there by 1, so they're waiting on a decision from the family. And I said, okay, just make sure that some people tend to drag their feet and say, oh, everything's all set, and then we're gonna have an angry family standing up around a gravesite.
Yeah.
So. So I told him,
Well,
Thank you for taking.
yeah.
I said thank you and I thank him for being on top of it, so.
Yeah. Good.
So when we get the call, we can go yell at Andrew.
Yeah. Right. Easier to yell at him than Ollie. Do you have anything else you wanna go over?
No, I did, just in case anyone wants to, I went in, updated the spreadsheet of tasks that we have going on.
Hmm.
I can go in later and kind of update some of the stuff what we got tonight, but I just added a few little things that popped across through email or that had come on through. It reminded me when I was reading the minutes today that I just went on, added a few things, so, but it's in, if you don't know how, so.
I've tried to find it back like in my emails and I can't seem to.
So what you do now is, if you, on your computer,
Yeah.
and you open up your email, right, your town email,
Yeah.
up in the corner, there's a little waffle, is the easiest way to explain it. It's a little, you click on that, and there's gonna be a drop down that comes down, and you're gonna see OneDrive. And if you click on, it looks like a cloud,
Yeah.
you click on OneDrive, and the only document that should be in there for you is that sheet.
Okay.
And then you click on it, and anything you type in there, it saves, and then all of us see what has been added, deleted, changed.
Okay.
So then when we go in, it's there. But it's a cloud-based document now.
Awesome.
So that way, all of us can see it. If somebody's able to fix something or you suddenly get an answer, you're actually able to put it in. And all I do is if we've technically closed something, I just highlighted the whole thing green. That
Okay.
way, it's something that we can revisit if we need to, but we know that, okay, we don't have to keep looking at that. It's technically closed, or it is 99.9% in process type thing.
Yeah.
But it just makes it, I think, like I said, it's been nice in the past 6 months or whatever it is, 3 months. We've probably ticked more stuff off of our to-do list than we did almost all last year. So
Mhm.
I think by just keeping that in our minds and working on it, I think that helps quite a bit, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Thanks for getting
Yeah.
that.
And
Into the
if you have
cloud.
trouble going in, let me know, cause I can send the link to that in an email. And that way you just have to save the email, and then every time you click the link, it'll bring you to the updated document. So if for some reason you have problems, let me know.
Okay.
Where did you say I click again?
The waffle.
The
The
waffle.
waffle?
Alright, so, alright,
Oh, that's the waffle.
so
Maybe.
maybe that's not really the waffle. So it would have to be on your computer. You'd have
Well,
to do it on an actual
Cause
computer.
I remember you sent something.
Yeah, I did. I just sent the original document, and now
That
I've
was it.
updated it.
Cause
I can send you the link, and then you can have it on here to look at.
well, I saw, as I'd open up this thing, cause that's all I use this
Mhm.
for, and I pulled down that thing and I saw
That you-
John Beazer sent you
A link, yeah.
this, but I never could find it
Okay.
here, but.
Because
well,
it probably
yeah, if you could
because
send an
I
email
think it
link
just
so-
pops up as a message and then disappears.
Yeah,
But yeah, so I can send you the actual email link for it,
oh, that'd be great.
and that way you can pull it up on your tablet as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Other than that, no, it's like I said, I've appreciated seeing a lot of communication through emails, keeping all of us up to date on stuff. So that's been positive. So.
Jason, did you have anything?
I guess, was the council ever asked about that, flying club? RC
Oh,
flying?
no, I'm sorry, I forgot all about that. RC plans.
Oh, she's listening to last week's.
Yeah.
She must have cranked it up so it sounded like there was a discussion.
I know. It's like, why am I talking in that room? I hate the sound of my own voice. Now I know how everybody else feels.
Meeting minutes, spreadsheet. Oh, our handbook review that we were talking about doing, and that brings us back to that, the holiday pay. Because the handbook's written the way that it is right now, it's in a way that they would be paid the 10 hours. So I think, I don't know, it's just, I feel like we should do that for this year and make the review.
I don't, because They have asked us. It's not an automatic. It's not like there's an automatic transfer from 5-day to 4-day. They ask, we approve it.
Mhm. No, I know.
So to ask for a benefit and then go, oh, and I want this because you gave me that benefit, now I get this benefit too. You know, I think that's, I think it's, you know, cause then what I would say is I'm like, then I make a motion to go back to 5/8. If that's what it's gonna be, then
Well, I
like,
think, yeah, that it's gonna have to, I wanna finish this out tonight and have a motion one way or another. Just so that, like, it's not a question
Yeah.
anymore.
I agree with that. And I've stated already, if the employee handbook is worded in such a way, I think we should honor what's in the employee handbook. If we don't like the way it's worded,
then we can, and we put them back to 5/8.
well, we could.
It's very simple. You go back to 5/8, and now you get paid eight hours instead. Because what you're doing is you're now going to pay those guys 30 hours of holiday pay this year. If you do it that
Well,
way.
20. Not, yeah, well, it's 4 extra hours, not even extra, it's just 4 hours. of
Well, you would
holiday
have
pay.
Memorial Day,
6 hours.
yeah,
6.
Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day. Because they don't
Mother's
revert
Day.
back. They don't revert back until after Labor Day.
My point is if it is what it is right now, if we don't like that, I mean, we've already voted to give them the 4 10-hour days, and it just seems like, I don't know, pick your battles, kind of.
And I look at that the same way for them. Pick your battles. Which do you want? Do you want a 3-day weekend from May through September? Because that's what they're getting 3-day weekends, May through September, guaranteed, unless we have some sort of weather emergency. And then on top of that, they go, oh well, since you gave us that, we also want 10-hour holidays.
Well, I don't think it was on top of that, it was just the point that that's the way it is written and,
Which is why
Right.
when I stated it,
mhm.
10-hour days, holidays are paid at 8 hours.
Is that what we voted on? That's that.
When I
that's-
stated it that night, I stated that
I-
holidays are paid at 8 hours.
Mhm.
Just like sick days are paid at 8 hours. You know, if you are a personal day, if you take a full personal day, you know, so. If you guys wanna outvote me, so that's fine. But
That's it.
I think that, you know,
No, in my notes it says approved. Oh wait, noted. Yeah, approved by vote, no overtime, 8 hours paid holiday. So that's what we approved. So they're bringing an objection to us of what we voted on. Now,
so, that's it.
So
If
we
you guys
have-
wanna- if you guys wanna outvote me, that's fine.
so we have these things here.
I've made it
How
very,
can we?
I've made it very clear my feeling. If you, so you make your
Yeah.
motion. You make your motion, you second it, you guys vote, you know how I'm voting. It's gonna be 2 against 1. I'm not changing my mind.
Well, no, you don't
So
know
it's
if it's gonna be 2 against
Well,
1.
I mean, you both just
I'm-
stated that you're gonna go with what the handbook says. So and I'm
John, I
just letting
just
you know. Oh,
I
I
was looking
understand.
at my notes and I
Yeah.
see that there is another
Right, and I,
level in here
Yeah,
that
but-
needs to be considered.
yeah, and I understand, so I'm just letting you know, this is my,
That's your position.
this is my position, it's not changing.
Yeah, oh man. I wish we would have looked at the
Yeah,
handbook
we should've
to
looked at the
begin with
handbook.
and just done it all, but we didn't, and now here we sit.
Mhm. Oh,
So
no,
I would
don't
say-
wanna take away the 10-hour days.
Yeah. What is the actual amount of man hours that we're looking at? How many employees are there?
Best guess.
So,
The DPW.
full-time employees is 4, isn't it? 4 or 5.
I was thinking
Say
Tim,
5.
Tim, Herb,
So we're talking
Peter,
5.
Tommy. I think
One,
it's 5.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got 7 employees. I don't know if Mark's included in that.
He's part-time,
Okay.
he doesn't get holiday pay.
Alright, so you got 7 employees.
7 full-time?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Well, so Peter's salary,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so you got Peter, Aaron, Herb, Tom,
no, Aaron's not there anymore,
but, okay. But he hired somebody else, right?
Tim.
Okay, and then, I don't know if he filled the other position of the new mechanic or truck.
No,
So that, okay, so it's 6. So if the new one hasn't been hired, it's only 6. If he hires a new one before then, they're automatically, so if he hired someone in the next week, they're automatic
Yeah.
from day one. So it's a minimum of 6 people
and this,
at,
but
for
now,
6 hours.
the other side of this question is does that go retroactive then? Do we have to, if
No,
we say,
because the holiday isn't until,
oh no, that would be
Next
this Memorial Day.
This
that's
Memorial
correct.
Day. Yeah, so we got-
Sorry about that.
Between this week and I guess potentially next week if Peter could come in or.
So we
Right,
could
I
be
know it's-
looking between, I don't know, $1,000 and $2,000. Would that be?
Is that what you're, yeah?
Well, I don't know, I'm just roughly doing, I know it's.
Yeah, I think under $1,000,
Well, you got 12
and then I guess contribution.
12 extra hours, right, per man? Is that what I heard?
so then this gets back to how it impacts Roger. Roger works 4/10s all the time. He gets 8 hours of holiday pay. So you're setting a precedent
Mhm.
that impacts other employees as well.
Yeah, possibly. Did you
Well, no, I
see
just
that?
asked them.
Yeah, you did.
I just wanna
Yeah.
finish our conversation out.
Yeah, so that is, what do we say, 6 employees?
36 man-hours
Yeah,
times.
36 man hours.
Oh, 36.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did
6
something
people,
wrong.
6 hours.
So it's $782.88 for 2 hours of work. And then you do that times 3. Hold on,
No,
no,
that's the total.
that's 2 equals
That's the total?
2. No,
Something like that. That's what about what I came up with.
1565.76.
That's what I thought. Let me see.
So if you, a full hour's worth of pay for all of them is $130.48. Times 2 is 260.96.
Mhm.
Times 3, okay, so 782.88
Yeah,
is what we're giving away.
Talking about?
That's what we're giving away. So it's up to you guys.
I feel like it's right to do that. I didn't consider what was in the handbook before we were entertaining the request.
And I think one of the things that no one's mentioned is whatever you decide, whether you voted on last week, this week, whatever, it should be in the minutes if you voted on last week. You're gonna be stuck with the same issue that you've already set a precedence for next year,
Mm-hmm.
which means it's gonna be expected every year. And, I don't have the answer, but my guess would be more along what Jason's saying, and to follow the handbook and make a point to change the handbook before next year. Not make an amendment for just an exception, because you're gonna be accepting everything. You take what's in the handbook, and then the other thing is the consistency between departments. I assume the 10-hour day request came from Peter, to change to a 10-hour day.
Yes.
And you're debating whether or not to give them 10 hours of holiday pay. Because the department head requested 10-hour days. The chief of police, a department head, requested 10-hour days, and you without question pay them. So you're not consistent across all of your employees. There's nothing that requires him to have a 10-hour day other than he wants one. And that's exactly the exact same position the highway guys have. They wanna go to a 10-hour day, and if they do, they should fall under the same standards that the police department do. You're paying them 10 hours a day, why don't they get paid for the same thing? Or when you look at the highway guys, you use the word like, well, we wanna be generous. You're not consistent at all in the town. The handbook needs to be rewritten that employees, period, not exceptions for the police or this person or that person. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Are we paying 8-hour days or are we paying 10? And if we're gonna pay 8 or 10, because they go to 10, and when they go to 10, they get paid 10. You can't pick and choose. That's one of the reasons you have the discord in this town, is because nobody thinks they're being treated fairly.
And that should be addressed in the handbook and just followed.
Well, the
That's what
handbook
it
has been written in the past to support different groups, and we're not consistent with that. So if you're going to say employees, you use all employees. There's no reason at all for the police to be on a 10-hour shift, other than that's what this chief wants. He could
And-
easily switch to an 8-hour shift.
I think that whole 10-hour shift should be spelled out in the employee handbook as well.
Mm-hmm.
That it's available at the selectman's discretion annually, because if we were to just leave it as it is, now like Scott brought up, the treasurer chooses to work and has been able to make it work with 4 10-hour days. So, because otherwise, we're gonna have everybody's gonna say, hey, we all want 4 10-hour days because we get, then our town is,
Oh, I'm
Locked
going to
into
a
that
12-hour day this summer then, so you can pay me 12 hours. I mean, you
it
can't, you
seems-
can never stop it once it starts.
but once there's a, I think it's okay for them to have these options available. But
Mhm.
that's what it, in my mind, that's what it should be, is just like it appears to have been in the past. It's at the selectman's discretion. And,
Alright, like I said, I make a motion, to pay the full-time employees holiday pay consistent with how it's outlined in the handbook.
should the previous motion be addressed in this,
I don't think so,
that we voted?
cause, the core of that was to put them to 10-hour days and then this is just correcting the end part.
And this includes Roger as well.
Until we,
Okay.
we have to rewrite that section.
Yeah,
So
But,
that brings up to $894.12.
I'm a little bit
So,
hesitant, well, I mean, was Roger ever, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, it's
well, so for Roger,
Um,
is that just moving forward, or do we go back on all the times we paid him 8 hours holiday? Well, I'm just asking.
I'm gonna go forward,
Okay.
going forward.
Just wanna clarify it because I know I may get a request for retroactive.
So make sure you clarify your motion.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit hesitant on including it to everybody.
There's only so many full-time employees
Is there?
between the DPW and the police.
But can they choose at their own volition, which it appears Roger has done, to do the 4 10-hour days? Or is that something that the selectmen should?
Well, it's been sanctioned for a long time,
Yeah,
so
it's a
Has
little,
it?
yeah, he's been doing it forever.
it's been doing it since I've been here, so.
He's been doing it as long as I know.
Right, but I'm
just So- trying to so-
stop the slippery slope.
No, I understand.
I'm saying.
Well, I mean, somewhere along the line, someone approved it. I would assume. I would have to make that assumption. At some point, they said you can work 4 10s.
Mhm.
You know, I don't think, you know, I think, you know, but, so, I would say, make sure you say, you know, in your motion going forward.
Guess I'll amend my motion to pay full-time employees holiday pay consistent with how it's outlined in the handbook from this point going forward.
I would second it.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
You gotta ask the next
Yeah.
question.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is, all in favor?
all opposed.
Oh, all opposed?
Nay.
No, sorry.
And I would have an item to bring up for a date to be set to review this manual and get it
Well, yeah. Well, I
Get
think,
it.
yeah.
done.
Well, like I said, I think we gotta make the one change and then, you know, the change on that, and then that's, yeah. You know, just change the wording on that line,
And then it can be signed
Yes,
off
yeah.
on.
that can be printed. Well, if they're smart, they'll wait till after March to make their request next year.
Is that when it would be issued? Is after March?
Well, what I'm saying is if he puts in a request to go to 4 10s, I said hopefully he'll be smart enough to request it after March.
John's not running.
I'm not running again. If nominated, I will not run. If elected, I will not serve. So, if he's smart, he can do it after, he'll ask it after election day.
Alright. So we gotta get that handbook reviewed and finalized and out to everybody.
Yep.
Trying to think here, there would be like kind of a lull, I know it's gonna be kinda busy, like extra busy with the hiring process. Wanna look at that, like the first week in July or
For,
the handbook review and.
well, it's already been reviewed. It's been
Yeah,
reviewed, it's been reviewed by council. All we need to do is change
change that.
that once that's like 4 sentences or something like that for holiday pay. That section's gotta be changed. Have council make sure that whatever wording we put in there is good, and we can go. All the other changes have been reviewed, approved, the whole deal, we just need to get it printed.
Yeah. How long do you think you need for that, Scott?
I could
To
have
make
it
the
by next
changes.
week. I mean, that's a simple paragraph change.
Okay.
So
Alright,
I'll try to get it done and get it out to you guys electronically. And, if acceptable, you can vote on the change next Tuesday.
Perfect.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Nope, that's all I
Seeing
had
none.
tonight.
We're good, going to our next section. Is there, is there a motion to enter non-public?
Sure, motion, enter non-public under RSA 91A3.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.